Hi everyone, welcome to my workshop. This is where I'm going to record my video today. We're going to look at our next assignment and how to do it. This is all on the blackboards in your assignments tab. There's two PDFs. One says Typo McLuhan, that has our quotes that we're going to use, and the other says Grids Poster Guides. There's a whole bunch of words on there. That's the file that we're going to be working from. So download both of those files. I've already downloaded them because my internet out here is not amazing, but here they are. If I open them, it gives me a bunch of quotes from our good pal Marshall McLuhan. I don't know how many are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. But they're all divided by these little rules between them. So we're going to kind of break them into chunks, and we're going to see how we can make a layout that's fairly interesting just using type. No illustrations, no other weird colors and photos or anything like that, just text. The other file is right here, and it looks like a blank file because it's just got guides on it. Now, guides are there for help us lay things out, but we can't see them once we leave our actual editing programs like Illustrator. So we'll close that guy. And I also have a PDF explaining this whole project, blah, blah, blah. So let's open this file so we can actually work on it. Just take that guide file, and I'm going to drag it onto my Illustrator so I can open it up. Or through Illustrator, file open, find it, whatever. Now, there's a whole bunch of things going on here. It looks like these weird fuzzy white squares. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different artboards. And these artboards are going to be 5 different layouts for posters. The posters are going to be based on these quotes. You don't have to use all of them. I would say use like 4 or 5 of them. You could use more. That's cool. You can repeat one. You can go crazy with this. This is a good chance to experiment with type. So this is our file. The only thing we need open is this character window. Nothing else really matters at this point. So you can close them all. No one cares. First step, make sure that our guides are all locked. Right now, if I drag across them, see it grabs them? That's not cool. Go up to View, Guides, Lock Guides. And now I can't select anything. They're stuck there. We want them locked because if they could move around, they would be garbage. They're not going to hold anything in place. We need to line things up to this little grid that we've created. So let's look at how this works. Each square is a potential area where we can start designing this thing. These thin areas in between are called gutters. We don't want to put anything in there. We can look at it as shapes, and we can kind of break this whole thing down into just forms and different sections of this grid. Let's see if we can make this work and make kind of an interesting pattern. I'll fill the whole page with them, but like a really long one maybe. Another one here. And you can walk around and kind of fill this. And fill these little cells. And look, we're starting to make these weird kind of patterns. But proportionately, they're all going to kind of line up. We've got this neat little kind of layout going on here. That's fun. We're going to look at this and use these same kind of proportions and shapes, but we're just going to use type for it. For now, we're going to get rid of these guys. We don't need them. Oh, these guides, you can turn them on and off. Command : or semicolon, if you will, turns them on and off. So you don't need to look at them all the time. They're not real. They're just guides to help us put things on here. So let's go back and look at our text. Now, all of these things need to be on our poster. How are we going to get it over to Illustrator? We're going to do it the fun way. We're just going to copy and paste. You don't need to retype these things, so don't do that. That's weird. We're going to copy this and we're going to kind of paste it on. So let's grab one. And with the selection tool, you can just drag across. See, it highlights it. Then hit Command C. Then we'll go over to our Illustrator file. I'm going to use my type tool, this guy, and I'm going to draw a box. Doesn't matter how big it is, say that big. So we have a constrained type area. We're going to use these constrained type areas. One, it's going to help our text jump down to the next line, and it's going to help us work around this grid. Plus, if we change the size of this box, it's not going to mess around with the size of our type. So I'm going to hit Command V, and it pastes it in. So there's our first quote that we're going to use. Now, this is set right now to the default, which is Myriad 12 over 14.4. No one likes defaults. Let's look back here. We're going to be using Universe 55 Roman, and our first one is going to be 14 over 18. So, change this to Universe 55 Roman. Click it. And the point size, which is this first window, is going to be 14. And the next one, I think it said 18. Yup. 18. So 14 is the size of this type. So it's looking from the bottom of a descender to the top of an ascender. So that space from down here to up here is 14 points. And we're looking at 18 points from that blue baseline to that blue baseline to that blue baseline. 18 points between. That's going to make sure we have enough room between there. Nothing's going to be too tight. We don't have things touching and being weird. There's lots of room there. That's comfortable. These are socially distanced. So there is our first block of text. Notice how I didn't start it in the top left corner of our form. We're trying to avoid that. The whole purpose of this is we're going to kind of move around this form and look at how we can change these layouts to make them visually interesting without just starting in the top left to right, top to bottom. We're going to move these around. So we can go anywhere inside this blue square. Outside of this area, that outside margin is too close to the edges. Even that's too close to the edges, really. But we don't want to get that close to the edge because there's a chance things are going to get cut off. If you start it up here, it's going to get cut when we make this the proper size. So we need to make sure we start it in here somewhere. That works great. That's good. I'm not going to leave it in the top corner because that's weird, but for now it can sit there. We're going to go back to our list of quotes and we're going to find some more copy, type tool, draw a box, paste. And it should hold the same type information. So we shouldn't have to worry about resetting that every time. Copy, paste. Couple more here. Copy. Make another box maybe here. Get another fairly long one. Oops, it's too much. There we go. Copy, Command C. Command V for paste. So I've got all these blocks kind of sitting on a window. If it's looking light to you, you can add another one. That's fine. There. So these are kind of sitting on here right now. Now this is giving me kind of a strong diagonal kind of layout, and I just randomly pick spots. But we're going to look at how we can kind of alter this and make it kind of have a nice flow and form. And you're going to tell people where to look on this page. Turn your guides off and check it out. So I'm going to avoid that top corner because I don't want to go too close to the edge. Maybe I'm going to avoid that side altogether. I'm going to start here. I'm going to start right here. So that's pretty much on the center of our page. That'll be our next quote. This one, I'm going to move down to the bottom of that cell. This one we'll play around with. We'll force a line break. I'll put him there. That one can sit there, and this one will kind of jump in the middle here. Now, we've created kind of a weird setup for how these are going to sit on our form. But we've got like kind of an interesting little jump running down throughout this whole thing. It's kind of fun. You can spread it out and take up even more room. Now, some people are going to have a little bit of difficulty with this because we are leaving quite a bit of white space on these posters. Not every inch of our work needs to be filled with stuff. We can spread it out. And the more we kind of move these around, we're telling people the order we want them to read them in, but also we're creating kind of a nice visual form around these things. You can keep them a little tighter and pack them up a little bit more. It's all dependent on how you want your poster to look. Maybe I'll bring these guys right in too. There we go. So now I've got everything kind of cramped around the bottom corner of this thing. But it's not in the center. It's not perfectly aligned to the corners. We've got this weird kind of layout. And it's working. With the grid, we can see where it sits in there. Without the grid, it's still they all have their own little home. And that's kind of the fun thing about this. We're not filling the whole thing. You can, I guess. But we want to create interesting layouts. Avoid, let's see, we'll make another one because we're going to make 5 of these things anyway. So I'm just going to copy. I'll use the same quotes. You can recopy new quotes. It's fine. I would probably recommend avoiding this layout, which everyone's going to try, but it's okay. Leave that one with it there. So this would be cool if it was a playing card, but everything's kind of tucked in these corners, and it's very obvious where they are. We don't need that, and this one's in the center. We don't like putting things in the center either. We want a nice asymmetrical kind of layout with this thing. So go in and move these around. Don't be afraid to explore this grid and see how we can make it work for us. We can reuse alignments. Those two can be lined up perfectly. Now we've got this nice little spread across this thing. Now on this poster, we're going to look at our options here too, because we can use different sizes of type. We've got 10 over 12, 14 over 18, 17 over 21, 21 over 26, 36 over 44, and 60 over 74. That's huge. This first number, again, your point size. The second number, the leading. So let's make a giant one, 60 over 74. Let's use this one. 60, 74. Holy. There. We'll make it kind of jump down this giant thing. We'll leave our grid on because we need to see what we're designing to here. And I'm going to line it up right there. I think that works pretty well. This one, we'll go a different size again, maybe 10 over 12. 10, 12. We'll kind of tuck them in there. Keep those ones kind of tight. This one's already set at 14. Maybe we'll make it a little bit larger. Maybe we'll use 21. So we can kind of keep them tucked into a nice little cluster. Maybe this one. I'm going to make it really long. Let's go with the small, 10 over 12. 10, 12. We'll line it right up in there. Tuck up that box a bit so it's not hanging out there. Oh my goodness. This one I'm going to leave kind of out on its own. And this one can sit, I'm going to align it with that guy too. I'm going to give myself a really strong, like, centered kind of line with that one. There. Did I hit my grid? Yeah. So I've got this one, and that one all kind of aligned to the same spine. And then these ones jump around it. So we've created kind of a weird layout with that too. And again, we can move that. If it's looking too centered to us, maybe I'm going to move them over there. Maybe I'm going to run right through that one. Whoa, this is getting crazy now. But we've got another layout. Oops. So there's two completely different layouts. Oops. Same quote, same information, different sizes on this one. And we're just jumping around that grid. And see how it creates kind of a visual interest? You're giving people a direction to follow. We're creating a sort of type hierarchy throughout this file. In this case, we've got just placement telling people where to look. On this one, we've got placement and we have sizes. So we're telling people the big one, obviously the most important. The little one, maybe not as important. Depends what you want to read into this thing. We can have fun with this. We can also go in and kind of change our alignments if we want to do that. So we can create kind of a strong little spine through those as well. Completely up to you. I would say use either left or right aligned. Centered is boring, and the forced justification ones end up kind of putting weird gaps in stuff. So we're going to avoid that for now. But there's two layouts. Now I'm going to save this thing because I haven't yet. Make sure you save it from where you're working from. We'll replace that and put our last name on it. And then I'm going to click Save. And I've got View PDF clicked here, so it's going to open up and we'll look at it. Save. There's our first poster, and this automatically is going to put our crop marks and printer's marks on it, which don't really matter, but that's what we're looking at. And then the next page. And the other ones we haven't done yet. But that's the whole thing. First one, just one size. Following, go nuts. You can change sizes, change the alignments, go nuts with the thing. Only black. Don't worry about adding color or anything to these because color changes the mood of everything. We need to see 100% contrast on these so we can understand how our type is working. If it's working with just black, it's probably going to work if we put color on it. Oh my goodness, these are great. Amazing. I'm going to turn this off now because I'm so happy about this. Bye for now.